Christmas, just a week away. Welcome everyone to the highly prestigious and awesome Bradithan Awards 2024. We're going to start with the nerd part. It's just got to happen because I love books and I know you should too, because you should do better. You should read more. So take these recommendations to heart. My favorite book I read this year was the first book I read this year, and this isn't my recommendation book so much as just saying my favorite is The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky is my favorite author of all time, and I read quite a few of his books at the beginning of the year. So that's my favorite novel I read this year. I'm not going to get into that too much. But for my recommendation for the year, I will say Notes from Underground, also by Dostoevsky. Mostly because it's just a shorter novel, but it condenses a lot of the themes that Dostoevsky is known to cover in a smaller book. So you're getting deep but concise commentary on things like human suffering, God, Christianity, self-harm, depression. Very fun stuff. I would say that despite its length, this is Dostoevsky's greatest portrayal of a truly bitter and depressed individual and that role in society. My biggest takeaway from Notes from Underground in particular is that myself being a depressed person a lot of the time, you have to look at that part of yourself face to face and actively work against letting that take over you. And then my nonfiction pick for this year would be Akira Kurosawa's Something Like an Autobiography. If you don't know Kurosawa, he's one of, if not the greatest filmmaker of all time. Directed Seven Samurai, High and Low, Rashomon, tons of classics. Anyway, this is his autobiography. It's mostly about his childhood and his earlier film career. I'm going to save the details of that for future video. I would love to cover him on eating your vegetables, but I'll just say his autobiography is an excellent read. There's a lot of very vivid passages that I still remember the imagery from and his takeaways from them, how certain childhood events shaped his worldview as an adult and as an artist. All right, guys, keeping it moving. It's music time. It was a great year in music, and I like all of this, but some stuff, it's good, it's based, but just too basic. I'm sorry. Now, my inclusions of more obscure music do not make me cool like this guy. Not cool. What this does make me is a nerd. Alright, with regard to music, I'm going to give you 5 albums and then a couple of songs that were highlights for me. Hi, hello. I'm in my dark version of my room. Looks like a cave. But I'm editing the video, and it's funny that I put in all this effort to put in a 5 graphic, because I actually named 6 albums. If you don't know this, I'm kind of dumb. So enjoy the extra album, because they're all good. I'm going in alphabetical order here, but I do have 2 that are kind of tied for my album of the year, if you will. So the first album I'm going to discuss from this year is Bright Future by Adrian Lenker. This is the first of the 2 that will be tied for the album of the year for me. This is this year's sad, somber indie folk album. This is pretty much just another phenomenal album from one of our generation's finest songwriters. Every song on here has something to say about the depth of human emotion, childhood, the way that humans interact with one another. It's really beautiful. Certain arrangements, like on the song Fool, are really just gorgeous, like scratch an itch in your brain. Guitar arrangements, stringed instrument arrangements, like on Sadness as a Gift. I've fallen asleep to it many times this year in a good way. It's very soothing, but also you can put this on when you need to reflect, and it's just, yeah, gorgeous, heartbreaking, very intimate album, but you leave it feeling very cared for, which I know is something that Adrienne Lenker has spoken about as something she intends with her music. So, yeah. My favorite song from this album, today I will say No Machine. And if you want the song that will make you cry the most, it's probably the first song on the album Real House. That song is brutal. Alright, my next album, alphabetically, of course, is going to be Night Palace by Mount Eerie. It's not everyone's cup of tea. That's okay. This is one of my favorite bands, one of my favorite artists. But yeah, this album is like a collage of different tones, and his lyrics, as always, are very stream of consciousness, introspective observations combined with reflections on nature or just whatever is around him at the time of the writing of the song. This album feels like going on a what the freak? Going on a long hike alone at midnight. It's very, very reflective music, which is always what I expect from him, and he certainly delivered with Night Palace. I would say this is a great album when I'm thinking about the universe and the void of the night sky and God and things of that nature. I would highly recommend it for moments like that. If you want a good litmus test for whether you'd like this kind of thing or not, I would check out the song I Walk. Very good stuff. Okay, next album is Night Rain by Aruj Aftab, which I'm probably mispronouncing horribly. I apologize. I don't speak Urdu. I don't speak Arabic. I speak American. Yeah, this album is not in English for the most part, so don't let the language barrier stop you. The music still translates. I've wanted to call most of the albums on this list my pick for the most beautiful music of the year, but this is the album that deserves it. It's like technically jazz, but it also has elements of singer-songwriter and folk music. It sounds like very little other music. This album sounds like sinking into a massive vat of very dark and fine perfume. Her voice is so sultry and rich. It's just one of the best albums from this year to put on after a long day and just let it wash over you. My highlight from this album would probably be her cover of Autumn Leaves, and the reason I like this one so much is because Autumn Leaves is a jazz standard, but she manages to make this sound like a song that she wrote for the album, which is really impressive for a song that's so well established in the music world. Hopefully someone watching this video gets turned on to this album from this. I think it deserves way more recognition outside of just the music nerd circles. It's awesome. And then we've got the other album I would have tied for my album of the year, and that is Vampire Weekend, Only God Was Above Us. So this is the album that over time I'll probably recognize as my album of the year just because it stands out a bit more. Yeah, this is just such mature songwriting and beautiful composition from one of my all-time favorite artists. I love it. It was a pretty obvious pick for me, but that doesn't mean it's not good. You should check it out. I will warn you though, first word on the album is a bad word. So if you're not 18 or older, can't in good faith recommend this album to you. My favorites, I don't know, every song is really crazy. I think the song I've come back to the most is Mary Boone, because it just gives me this not describable with words feeling of giddiness and nostalgia. It's like a choir with a Tribe Called Quest style hip-hop beat behind it. It's me again. I don't think that description did it that much justice because I didn't really talk about the album much. But yeah, it is kind of just like that. They combine a lot of their orchestral sounds that they're more known for, like more classical influence, and they combine that with a lot of New York hip-hop sounds and occasionally more abrasive guitars and things like that. And the album has a lot of profound things to say about the present state of the world. So yeah, Only God Was Above Us is amazing. Okay, next up we have Patterns in Repeat by Laura Marling. I did say Bright Future was a very intimate album. This is probably even more so an intimate album. Laura Marling is another generational songwriter whose talent is just very underappreciated, I think. And she has an almost Paul Simon-esque ability to pair her melodies with her lyrics and just compose these beautiful orchestral arrangements behind them. Her album Song for My Daughter is also really excellent. Is it Our Daughter? I think it's Our Daughter. That album is about an imaginary child, and then Patterns in Repeat is about her actual daughter who she's had recently. So this album is all about motherhood and generational cycles, pretty much. This is my favorite album listening experience, just from start to finish. It flows very well. It's just gorgeous. I think this is like the album of the year that should be included in the folk canon for the future generations of folk artists. My favorite song is probably Child of Mine, which is the opening track, but it gives you a great feeling for the album. It feels like a warm hug from your mom. Okay, I have made the very difficult decision between a number of fantastic indie women albums for this year, Adrienne Lenker notwithstanding. We got fantastic albums from Clairo. The new MXM Tune album is really, really good. I've been listening to that since it's come out. Who else is there? Oh, the Magdalena Bay album, also very good. But anyway, my pick for the indie women album this year would have to be Underdressed at the Symphony by Faye Webster. This is her classiest album. It's just smooth like butter. You feel like you're levitating when you're listening to this music. It's just so soft and warm, and this is fantastic music for me to play at work. I work at a bubble tea shop, and this is just like vibe, chill, core. Besides maybe Atlanta Millionaires Club, this is her best work so far. Songs like Thinking About You, even Lego Ring, which is an interesting one. That song has Lil Yachty on it, but it's really cool. This is unique, great artistic vision here. My favorite song is Wanna Quit All the Time. That might be my favorite song of the year, if not at least my most revisited song of the year. So yeah, Underdressed at the Symphony, Faye Webster, Let's Go, Atlanta, Georgia. So those were my 5 albums for the year. Now for some songs. Juna by Clairo. This was kind of inevitable for me. This song is literally musical serotonin. I also saw Clairo live with some of my friends this year, and she was fantastic, and this song is now inextricably linked to my heart. So there you go. Next Semester by 21 Pilots. Yeah, I was surprised to see a 21 Pilots song crack this list, but they made a really good song this year. The album is just really puts the mid in mid 2020s, and the lyrical content, if you've heard the song, you know what this is about. Start fresh next semester. Really, really good stuff. Great message. I approve. Good job. Next up, another very personal pick is There Really No Happiness by Porter Robinson. This song and a few others, the way I think about them has changed completely after I heard them live. And this album and this song are beautiful pictures of nostalgia. If you're someone who was born in the early 2000s, this will hit you right in the funny bone. It's very funny, fun stuff. Then, changing it up completely, we got Dream State by Kamasi Washington and Andre 3000. I love Andre 3000 making flute jazz. This is cool. This song sounds awesome, very smooth. I'm glad to see someone as talented as Kamasi Washington collaborating with someone who's completely new to their instrument like Andre. This is just a great jazz song, my jazz song of the year. And then switching it up again, I've got Texas Blue by Kevin Abstract and Quadeca. Yeah, the key to my heart is woodwinds, and this song has them, and there's just something about it. It's a great song. That's it. Those are my musics of the year. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Okay, movies. Movie time. I'm done with the slideshow, by the way. I don't want to make more slides, so that's the slides. So I only watched 5 movies in theaters this year. Most of them were okay, but I would say compared to last year and 2022, my relationship with movies has not been great. I really haven't cared that much about the new movies that came out this year. So I would say my relationship with film has been more of a situationship, if you will. And film is just unwilling to move on. You know, it won't make a decision about what this relationship is going to be. And that's bad. But I'm not breaking up with film. I'm gonna hear it out for a little while longer, and I will talk about some movies. Very obvious pick, and I'm not the first white guy on YouTube to talk about it. Dune Part 2. This is the book. I mean, what am I supposed to say? I'm a huge Dune fan. I just reread the book a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about Dune 2. Like, it's probably my generation's best sci-fi movie-going experience that we've gotten so far. Denis Villeneuve has really outdone himself with these. The fact we live in an era where someone can adapt such a complex book says a lot about the power of film right now, and Dune 2 does a great job of just expounding on the themes of the books. It nails it, really. And if you haven't seen it, why are you watching this? Shortly after that, the movie Perfect Days, directed by Wim Wenders. Yeah, this is a movie about a Japanese toilet cleaner, and he's just an older guy who lives by himself. And this is, no doubt in my mind, 100% my favorite movie of this year that came out in theaters this year, at least. Anyway, this is a film, a story all about the beauty of the mundane, of being alive, of the chance to live that we get every time we wake up in the morning, and how we can make the most of that. Anyway, yeah, this movie spoke to me on a really personal level, especially when I saw it, because sometimes life can be a struggle. Getting out of bed in the morning can be a struggle, even if you don't have a particular reason for that. And this reminded me that that living a simple life is one of the better things you can do with your life. Being a simple person, sharing that with the people you love. And this is right up my alley because it's beautifully shot. The soundtrack is phenomenal. It uses tons of like just warmer, classic songs like Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, and Perfect Day by Lou Reed is like the title song for the movie. And it's just, yeah, hit me right in the gut. But it's also a very comforting movie. Highly recommend it. And even though the movie didn't technically come out in 2024, if I have to pick a favorite movie and a favorite performance of the year, it would be this. The performance would be Koji Yakusho. I'm sorry, I'm very white. It would be the main character's performance. He's one of my favorite actors, and Wim Wenders is one of our living legends in terms of filmmakers. Perfect Days, highly recommend. If you're a film person, if you're an alive person, you know, I would recommend it. And then the other one I saw this year that I did not watch in theaters, but I want to talk about, is the anime film Look Back, which I actually literally watched this morning. This is just a really simple, pretty short, I think it was only like an hour long, just an anime movie, all about the human need to make art, I would say. I haven't fully processed it yet, but I highly recommend it. It's really beautifully animated. I think the movie would be really personal, very moving for certain people, and I think you guys should definitely check it out. That does it for 2024 media. What else can I talk about here for Bradley Awards? Okay, favorite first watches of the year. First movie I'll highlight is Umberto D by Vittorio De Sica. This is, yeah, my favorite Italian film. I was going to say Italian neorealist specifically, but this is my favorite Italian film. Beautiful, very sad movie, very realistic movie about an old man and his dog, and they're all that they got. I love this one. This is an all-time favorite. My other favorite that I more recently watched is Abbas Kiarostami's Taste of Cherry. This, Umberto D, and Perfect Days are all really similar movies, actually. I love simplicity. I love minimalism in filmmaking. And Taste of Cherry, if you know the ending, you know how profound this movie is. This movie is like poetry. Very, very personally impactful movie, although not everyone will like it. So those are my favorite first-time watches for the year. And oh yeah, Christmas, just a week away. My favorite Christmas song that I've been bumping this year is Silent Night by The Temptations. Yeah. There's something. Oh yeah, and then direction for the channel, for the bradithan channel. Like I said in my last video, which was posted a month ago, bringing you that content every day. Yeah, I want to keep moving the channel in this direction of talking about movies and music and books and things that I enjoy. But I also do want to make more short films, like the one I made a couple months ago. I love making little weird experimental things, and I've got some other short films and films written now that I definitely want to make this coming year, that I just haven't given myself the time to. Not because I've had anything better going on, just because either I've been lazy or because I just have chosen to do other things. Yeah, but this year I'm going to hold myself to it. I hope you guys all have a blessed holiday, a Jiminy Christmas. I'll see you tomorrow with the next daily upload. Oh my goodness, I don't even know who this guy thinks he is. This is an awards show. There's supposed to be some class here. I'm going to give you the rundown, okay? So, my book recommendations. Notes from Underground for my fiction book, Something Like an Autobiography for my nonfiction book. Favorite book that I read this year is The Idiot. Then, my two favorite first-time watches, both of which are classics, Umberto D, Taste of Cherry. And my best Christmas song, Silent Night by The Temptations. So, best picture, Perfect Days. And if you don't count that because it came out last year overseas, Dune Part 2. Best album is a tie between Bright Future and Vampire Weekend. Thank you. Have a good night.